How are we able to stream Netflix, have Zoom calls, upload videos, and work online while we're staying in our RV? Well, everyone's been asking about this lately, so in this video, I'm going to tell you all about it. Stay tuned. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Liz from Peanuts or Pretzels Travel Blog, and together with my husband Josh, our goal is to help people plan trips easier and have more fun while they're doing it. And as more and more people are able to work remotely with their jobs, a lot of them are wanting to take their jobs on the road, just like us in our RV. Now, we've technically been location independent, as we like to call it, for more than 6 years now. Initially, we were traveling and working overseas, but for the better part of the last year or so, we've actually been doing a lot of working and traveling and living in our RV here. And the reason we're able to do that is because of our awesome RV internet setup. So my first piece of advice, if you are thinking about taking your job on the road and working in an RV, number one, do not ever rely on the RV park's internet. Okay, I know that a lot of people are doing research and they're trying to find parks and they're advertising, fast Wi-Fi, high-speed Wi-Fi and things like that to attract guests. But if that's a part of your job, you really cannot depend on that, because the issue is, to be honest with you, probably 80-90+% of the time, the RV park's internet is crap. I'm just being honest with you. Especially if there's a lot of people in the park. Think about it. If there's hundreds or 200 people staying at that RV park and everyone's online, even though they say not to stream, I guarantee you people are trying to stream. So everyone's sort of sucking up that bandwidth. And I'll tell you, it's very rare that you're going to be able to find really good internet at an RV park. It can exist, but it's going to be few and far between, and it's not something you're going to want to depend on, because I promise you it's going to be that time when you have a big meeting or a Zoom call that it's not going to work, and then you're going to feel really stuck. So do not depend on the RV park's internet. So we never want to be at the mercy of our RV park's internet, and so that's why we carry our own network with us, and that's really what the core of this video is about today. Now, how we get our internet is technically through the cell networks, okay? So if you think of your cell phones, when you have your cell phone on and you have data, you're able to basically browse the internet. And a lot of people have cell phones and plans that allow you to turn your phone into a hotspot. Okay, so if you think about that for a moment, if you turn on your hotspot, it basically lets your cell phone sort of blast that signal, and then you can connect other devices to it. So for example, I could take my phone, I could turn on my hotspot, and then I could go here to my computer and I could connect my computer to my cell phone, and then that would allow me to check my email or do some things on my computer, but I'm technically using the internet from my cell phone. And, that's kind of the idea that we're going to talk about here. It's basically taking this phone and making it a hotspot. Now, that does work, but the downside is that your cell phone is not intended to always be a hotspot internet device, okay? So, the first and foremost, this thing is used for talking and other types of communication. So after a while, if I'm doing that, my cell phone gets a little hot, because I'm not an engineer, but I imagine I could just see all the little, everything turning in here, and it's like a little much for it to handle, So my cell phone is not really designed to do that. It could do that for short periods of time, but not for long periods of time. So for that reason, you can invest in something that is called a wireless router or a mobile router, okay? And that's basically what this is. It is a router that actually runs on the cell networks, okay? So it's not attached to cable like what you might have at your house. It actually has a SIM card in it, and it actually runs from the cell towers. So that is, in theory, how we get internet to our RV. We basically run it off the cell towers with these special mobile router devices. If you are looking to get great mobile internet into your RV like we have, I highly recommend that you invest in one of these hotspot devices, okay? So I showed it here a moment ago like this. This is actually a Netgear Nighthawk MR1100, and this is our primary device. It's called a hotspot, or it's called a mobile router. You might see different terminology, but basically it's, kind of like using your data on your phone, but it's a device that's actually designed to do this. And you put a SIM card in there, and you basically get, it throws out a signal, and you're able to connect. I mean, this one we can connect 10 devices to it, actually, and we can run internet from this. We actually have a couple different versions. This one is a Netgear, and we actually have an AT&T card inside it. But we also have another version here that is a Verizon JetPack. This one's pretty old. We got it a few years ago, and we actually just keep it now as a backup, and we use our AT&T as the primary now. Now, after you get the device, you will need to have a special SIM card to use in it. When we got the Verizon one, we actually bought this device on Amazon by itself. I think we actually got it refurbished or something. And then we just went to the Amazon store in Denver, and we told them that we had a Verizon hotspot and we needed a SIM card for that. And so we were able to sign up. We actually got a prepaid SIM card. We could choose how many gigs we wanted. I think we'd do about 20 gigs at a time, and then we would pay it. It was kind of like a prepaid deal. So we had a 20 gig SIM card. We'd stick it in here, and then if we ran it out, then we would just pay to put more on there. Okay, so that was a prepaid Verizon, and it's basically just all data. That's what we were buying. It wasn't like a phone SIM card. It was a purely data SIM card that was for the hotspot device. Okay, so we did that, but then we realized we were just burning through a lot of data, and we didn't want to keep paying to put more on, so we ended up going to an unlimited data network through AT&T, and we actually did this through a reseller called OTR Mobile. There's a few different resellers out there, but at the time they were working with AT&T. I think now they've actually changed over to T-Mobile is their provider, but it's the same sort of idea. You can go to them and you can bring your own device if it's unlocked and you want to use that, or you can actually buy a plan through them as well as getting a device. And so that's what we did. We bought our device here through them, and then we also bought a SIM card through them. And I believe we were paying about $60 or $70 a month was all, and we could get unlimited data through this little guy right here. And I could tell you, it's worked amazing as long as we have good cell service. So as long as we're camping in areas where we have a good cell service, we can get good internet. That means we can do Zoom calls, we can stream. We even have a couple of us streaming at the same time. I might be watching YouTube in the back, Josh is watching Netflix in the front, we're both on our phones. We can do multiple things at the same time, and we've never really had much of a problem as long as we have a good signal. Now, of course, there's going to be times when maybe your signal's a little weak, but for the most part, it's been pretty amazing. And so we still have our Verizon as a backup in case, we can't get an AT&T signal. But in all honesty, we've had a great experience with this one, and we really have not had to bust this one out in a long time. We just have it as a backup. So that's another tip for you as well, is that if you are really depending on internet for your job, it's probably a good idea to get a couple different networks. All right, we have this AT&T hotspot, we have a Verizon hotspot, my cell phone is on T-Mobile, and Josh's cell phone is on AT&T. So we have 3 of the main networks here in the States covered. So if we ever had a problem with getting service and we were in an emergency situation for our jobs, because that's really important, we have a backup. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now, sometimes you might be in areas where you have more of a weak cell signal, and that happened to us last summer when we were out in Colorado because we did a ton of boondocking up in the mountains, and we only had a couple bars on our cell phones. So to get around that, we actually have purchased an external WeBoost, and we actually mount that out on the outside of the RV, and it actually helps to attract the cell signal and make it stronger, so that then we can actually be out in the mountains and have a stronger cell signal. And then having that stronger cell signal and bringing that inside the RV allows us to boost this so that we get a stronger internet connection, basically. Now, a cell booster is very different than a Wi-Fi booster. These are 2 different kinds of things. Wi-Fi booster is what some people use at RV parks when they want to boost the Wi-Fi signal. But that's just boosting that Wi-Fi. Cell booster actually boosts the cell signal that you have. And since we run our internet off the cell signal, we want to boost the cell signal. And I would say to people who are debating about what to get, if you're at an RV park, again, keep in mind the internet's probably not that great. So spending hundreds of dollars on a Wi-Fi booster, if it's crap internet, you're just paying to boost crap, which is probably still going to be crap. I think if you were to spend that money, I would recommend that you spend that money on just getting your own internet for yourself so you don't have to depend on it anymore. To me, that's the better investment for you. So I hope that explanation has helped to give you some insight if you are thinking about working from the road and what type of internet you need for your RV. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I will also make sure to include links directly to the products that we use for more information, as well as links to our blog as well. And lastly, feel free to give us a thumbs up if you liked this video and found it helpful. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.